The question isn't whether AI is coming for your job. The question is, what will your job actually look like when it's done with its transformation? What we are seeing today is cognitive amplification, a tool that doesn't just replace human effort but extends human reach. Every few decades, we face a great anxiety, a moment where the tools we've built seem so powerful that they might render us obsolete. In the 1800s, it was the steam engine and the power loom which disrupted centuries of artisanal tradition. In the 1970s and 80s, it was the personal computer and the industrial robot. Today, it's generative AI. We are living through the fastest technology adoption in human history. You've seen the headlines: 97 million jobs displaced by 2025 to 2026, massive layoffs in tech, creative, and administrative sectors. The fear is real because it is visible. We see the roles that disappear, we hear about the departments that are restructured. It's easy to photograph a closed factory or a consolidated office, but it's much harder to photograph the millions of new opportunities that are quietly forming in the shadow of this disruption. If you look deeper than the sensationalism, you'll find something economists call the employment paradox. This paradox suggests that while technology makes certain skills less valuable, it makes the outputs of those skills so cheap that the demand for them explodes. In this session, we aren't going to talk about science fiction or sentient robots. We're going to look at the hard data, the cold history, and the practical reality of what it means to work alongside an intelligence that never sleeps. We're going to prove that AI isn't here to fire you, it's here to liberate you from the mundane, provided you have the courage to adapt and the curiosity to learn a new language of work. Let's start by looking back. Because to understand the future of AI, we first have to understand why we've been wrong about the end of work for the last 200 years. Let's talk about the Luddites. In 1811, textile workers in the north of England began a secret campaign of sabotage. They used massive sledgehammers to smash the automated weaving frames that were appearing in factories. To them, these machines weren't tools, they were job thieves. They were right in the short term, traditional hand woven textile roles were decimated. But fast forward 50 years into the heart of the Victorian era, what happened to the textile industry? It didn't disappear. It became the engine of the global economy. Because automated looms dropped the price of clothes by over 90%. The demand for clothing and household textiles didn't just double, it increased 1,000-fold. Where there was once a village of 10 weavers, there was now a city of 10,000 male workers, designers, shippers, and retailers. This is the first rule of technology. When you drop the cost of a basic necessity, you don't destroy the industry. You expand its boundaries until it is unrecognizable. Now, let's look at a much more recent crisis. In the 1980s, the electronic spreadsheet hit the market. Before VisiCalc and Lotus 123, if a CEO wanted to know what if we increase our prices by 5%, a team of bookkeepers would spend 3 weeks manually recalculating ledger books. It was slow, prone to error, and expensive. When the spreadsheet arrived, it could do that 3 week job in 3 seconds. Financial experts predicted the mass unemployment of accountants. They argued that if a machine can add a million numbers perfectly, why would anyone hire a human being to do it? The data tells a different story. Since 1980, the number of accountants and auditors in the United States has grown by over 400%. The nature of the job shifted. We didn't need people to perform the arithmetic anymore. We needed them to perform the analysis. We needed them to tell us what the numbers meant for the future of the company. The spreadsheet didn't kill accounting. It made every business in the world data-driven, creating a massive new demand for financial experts. In the 1990s, we saw the same pattern with the ATM and the bank teller. In the 2000s, it was the internet and the travel agent. In each case, the mechanical part of the job was automated, and the strategic part of the job became the new center of value. This is the pattern we are entering now with large language models. AI is doing to language and logic what the spreadsheet did to numbers and what the steam engine did to physical force. It is commoditizing the basic units of intellectual labor. If we have survived the mechanization of the body and the digitization of the ledger, we can survive the automation of the sentence. But only if we understand that we are no longer being paid for the labor of writing or coding, but for the discretion of knowing what to write and why to code it. To understand where the new jobs are coming from, we have to look beyond the headlines and into the hard data of the 2026 forecast. Let's look at the numbers behind the anxiety. These aren't guesses, they are the aggregated projections from the world's most comprehensive economic studies, including the World Economic Forum's latest Future of Jobs report. The headline that usually captures the public's attention is the estimate of displacement 85 million jobs. By 2025, 85 million roles are expected to be shifted or outright eliminated as a direct result of the division of labor between humans, machines, and algorithms. This is equivalent to the entire population of Germany losing their current roles. It is a massive disruption, particularly in fields like administrative support, data entry, and basic manufacturing. That is exactly what we saw last year. But a headline is only half a story. The same report projections show that AI and the broader digital transformation are expected to create 97 million new roles. This is the employment paradox in action. We are looking at a net gain of 12 million jobs, but the transition isn't seamless. We are essentially watching an evolutionary leap in the labor market. The 85 million roles disappearing are largely defined by iteration, doing the same task over and over with slight variations. The 97 million roles appearing are defined by orchestration, managing the systems that perform the iterations. This isn't just about new jobs, it's about new value. Consider a legal clerk in the 1990s. Their value was tied to their ability to spend 40 hours a week in a library finding three relevant case laws. Today, an AI can find 10,000 relevant case laws in 40 milliseconds. The value has shifted from finding the data to synthesizing the data into a winning legal strategy. The World Economic Forum predicts that while the total hours worked by humans might decrease in some sectors, the economic value of those hours will rise. We are moving from the task economy to the impact economy. However, this transition creates a skills gap. The 12 million net gain doesn't automatically help the person who was doing data entry yesterday. This is why upskilling isn't just a corporate buzzword, it is a survival requirement for the next decade. We have to move up the value chain. To do that, we need to understand exactly which tasks the LLMs are taking and which ones they are leaving wide open for us. We need to look at the heat map of automation. To truly understand the impact of large language models, we have to stop talking about jobs and start talking about tasks. Economic studies from institutions like OpenAI and the University of Pennsylvania have broken this down scientifically using the concept of exposure. Every job, from a heart surgeon to a barista, is a bundle of hundreds of distinct tasks. Some are repetitive and predictable, like formatting a spreadsheet, checking code for syntax errors, or summarizing a meeting transcript. Others require high degrees of social intelligence, physical dexterity, or complex decision making in unpredictable environments. When we map these tasks on a heat map of AI exposure, a clear pattern emerges. Large language models are incredibly efficient at tasks involving the synthesis of structured information. This includes summarizing a legal document, writing a first draft of an email, or translating a technical manual. These are tasks with high exposure, meaning the AI can do them nearly as well as or better than a human worker. Think about a paralegal. Their day might consist of searching for specific legal precedents, drafting routine contracts, and summarizing witness statements. These are all high exposure tasks. If 80% of your job is high exposure tasks, then yes, your current role is at risk of being automated. But look at the other end of the map, the human premium tasks. Negotiation, ethical judgment, empathy, and specialized physical tasks have low exposure. LLMs are essentially stochastic parrots. They are masters of the probable, but they have no grounding in the physical or emotional world. The goal for every professional in the 2020s is to move from performing the high exposure tasks yourself to supervising the AI as it performs them for you. You don't lose your seat, you just change your job description from worker to architect. Let's look at a concrete example of this shift in action. Consider the field of software engineering, which we are mostly here in the audience, arguably the industry most exposed to AI right now. In the old world, the barrier to entry was the ability to write code. Today, the barrier to entry is the ability to think like an engineer. In 2021, a mid level engineer might spend 3 hours writing boilerplate code. For a new feature, they'd spend another hour debugging basic syntax and searching through documentation for library usage. They might spend half their day just fighting with the tools. This was the grind. In 2025, that same engineer uses GitHub Copilot or Replit Agent. They describe the feature in natural language, create a secure login page with two-factor authentication and error handling, and the AI generates the first draft of the code in 5 seconds. Is the engineer's job gone? No. Their job has changed from typist to architect. Now they spend those 3 hours on higher order tasks. They're architecting the system's security, they're optimizing for performance, and they're ensuring the new feature integrates perfectly with the existing platform. They've gone from being a worker in the factory to being the designer of the factory. The same thing is happening in marketing. A junior designer who once spent all day masking images in Photoshop or resizing banners now uses generative fill and automated layouts to do it in clicks. What do they do with the saved time? They spend it on the psychology of the campaign. They spend it understanding the customer's needs and the brand's voice. This is the 10x effect. AI doesn't replace the creator, it removes the friction between the idea and the execution. If you can master these tools, you aren't just one employee anymore. You are a one person studio. You can produce the output of 10 people with the vision of one. But this power comes with a responsibility. When you can create anything at the push of a button, you have to be much more careful about what you create. This leads us to the most critical part of the AI human relationship, ethics. What does augmentation actually look like on a Tuesday morning at 10 a.m.? It's not about a robot sitting in your chair. It's about a digital nervous system that enhances your own. It is the shift from manual labor to algorithmic conduct. In the old world, the world of 2019, if a marketing manager needed a video campaign, they'd spend weeks coordinating between departments. They'd write a creative brief, send it to a copywriter, wait 3 days for a draft, send it back for edits, then send the final draft to a designer. Then they'd hire a video editor and wait another week for the first cut. Each change took 3 days. Each revision cost thousands of dollars in billable hours. This was the manual bottleneck. It was slow and it limited the number of ideas a company could test. In the AI augmented world, that same manager becomes a director of digital agents. They use a tool like ChatGPT or Claude to brainstorm 40 distinct concepts in 5 minutes. They use Midjourney to mock up visual styles in real time. But this power requires a new set of skills. We call it prompt engineering, but it's actually something deeper. It's intellectual articulation. It's the ability to clearly define a problem, structure a solution, and supervise the output. If you can't tell the AI what you want, it doesn't matter how fast it can work. The bottleneck is no longer the machine, the bottleneck is the human imagination. We are moving into an era of infinite execution. If execution is free, if code is free, if design is cheap, if writing is instant, then the only thing that matters is the idea. Are your ideas big enough? Do you have the taste to distinguish excellence from mediocrity? Those are the skills that will define your career in the 2030s. Power without responsibility is a recipe for disaster. As we move into the era of infinite speed creation, the most important component of any AI system isn't the model, it's the human anchor. Think of it like a massive balance scale. On one side, you have the AI speed, the ability to generate 1 million lines of code, 10,000 marketing images, or 1,000 legal summaries in a heartbeat. It's overwhelming, it's efficient, it's profitable. But on the other side, you have human value. This is the side that provides the grounding. It's the ethics that prevent a medical AI from making a dangerous recommendation based on biased data. It's the empathy that prevents an automated HR system from firing an employee without understanding the context of their life. It's the taste that distinguishes a masterpiece from a generic AI generated slurry. The greatest risk of the next decade isn't that AI will replace us, it's that we will stop checking the AI. We call this automation bias, the human tendency to believe that because a computer calculated something, it must be correct. The most valuable person isn't the one who can work the fastest, it's the one who can think the deepest. It's the person who can say, stop, this output is biased, or this design is technically correct but emotionally vacant. We need to look at the global impact to see where the next wave of opportunity is forming. The AI revolution is often discussed as a Silicon Valley phenomenon, but its impact is truly global and deeply asymmetrical. We are watching a restructuring of the global labor market in real time. Look at the emerging economies. In the 2010s, business process outsourcing was the engine of growth for countries like India, the Philippines, and parts of sub Saharan Africa. Millions of jobs were created in call centers, data entry, and basic transcription. These are the exact roles that are now most exposed to AI automation. But this isn't the end of the story, it's a pivot. While basic outsourcing is declining, high skill remote collaboration is exploding because AI levels the playing field for technical execution. A developer in Lagos or a designer in Manila can now compete with someone in London or New York on taste and strategy rather than just cost per hour. AI is democratizing the means of production. In the past, you needed a massive infrastructure to build a global software company. Today, you need a laptop and a high speed internet connection. The barrier to entry for the creator economy has dropped to zero in every corner of the globe. However, this global shift also highlights a digital divide. The countries that invest in AI literacy and high speed infrastructure today will be the economic superpowers of 2050. We are seeing a new Silk Road of data and intelligence forming. So, knowing all of this, the history, the data, the ethics, and the global shift, what is the final takeaway? How do you move from fear to flow? So, we come back to the big question: is AI coming for your job? The honest answer, based on everything we've seen today and based on my experience as an AI engineer, is no, AI isn't coming for your job. But a person using AI might be coming for your job. We are living through the great sorting. It is a filter that will divide the workforce into two groups: those who see AI as a threat to be avoided, and those who see it as a capability to be mastered. We're entering an era where the boundary between non technical and technical is dissolving forever. If you can speak, you can code. If you can imagine, you can design. The mechanical part of creativity is being automated, leaving only the soul. Your value in the workplace is no longer tied to your ability to remember facts, perform repetitive tasks, or fight with software. A machine with 1.5 trillion parameters will always remember more facts than you. Your value is now tied to your unique human perspective, your ethics, your taste, your judgment, and your ability to navigate the messy, unpredictable complexity of the real world. Think about the 10x engineer or the 10x marketer we discussed. They didn't get faster at typing, they got better at architecting. They moved from being workers to being conductors. The tools are ready. They are sitting on your desktop, accessible via a simple chat interface, waiting for your instruction. The question is, are you ready to give those instructions? Don't wait for the trend to find you. By then, the opportunity has passed. Become the person who defines how these tools are used in your industry. Thank you.